So in loving memory of a former president, a legend by all standards, a fallen hero, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, a man who led this country for almost 2 decades, and for almost 20 years. He was leader of this country, and unfortunately, but we have to soldier on as a people, and we'll be bringing you all you have to know. Ekosiisen 30 minutes after 2 on Asempa 94.7 FM. In the background, one there from Wiyala, her own rendition of that popular Osibisa song, and Yabo Ediamamon into Muninamun Shannon. So, I will be playing a lot more of such solemn music today. Na Muninamu who said, just to put you in that mood. So, papa, you know, into Yabe, you know, ye Kai Ukunini Kesrepa, former president of the Republic, Jerry John Rawlings, Papa J. Asempa FM Suni Ekosiisen Jumedi de Brown Medini or say bonsu. Ofremi obi amejo so fi sam rekopim se no nsia ne fa ebeboyatena se e de Ekosiisen ebrem ntemo nhya ne nso e man aboafo ni nyina so ye na sen ye boye na chi dom papa nti so hwe nyumeku eboa yen na ye wo Agbeve Herbal Hospital, ye wo Amponsa Ifa Pharmaceuticals, ye wo Bapa Company Limited, ye wo Ecobank Ghana, 21st Century Clinic, Awake Purified Drinking Water, Rockstars Roofing Systems, your Bell Aqua, Heaven Insecticide Spray and Coil, and Napa Foods, Franco Trading Enterprise, your Bell Aqua Active, TCL, Dependable Herbal, and a Global Lighting Center Limited. Omunyina Boyan Yedi Ekosiisen Ebremo. We will get. And yeah, can say one of the things I be and say ebia went to me and share and state burial like the former President Rawlings ni bi o TV so ntisi as wuti ya obetima ba Facebook Asempa 94.7 FM yen page or Facebook will be showing you excerpt of the course so and war Independence Square. Quite a very well organized burial service in honor of the late Ghanaian leader. And yebe show except ni bebre edi amamun so me who said enioma isi ekoba. There are some controversies around the year already. Yenu be a war Volta region are complaining ni nyina ye nsem a yebehwe na yetumi akom. But let me start off with this one from Daddy Lumba of an Adakatia.
Asempa FM. Asempa FM. Asempa FM.
Okay, enti enyomono aha adwen kakaba wo si o get it na fe yetumi abo e de amamu nhya ne nso emfa emaye Ekosiisen so na ha Asempa 94.7 FM. Before all of that, no me pa cho say uwo message be at the MI, something you would love us to share, something you remember of the late Ghanaian leader Jerry John Rawlings, because it's a solemn moment and then you say throughout the show just to reflect the moment you womb. Very, very sad day. Rest in peace, His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings and other departed souls like Professor Mills and Kwesi Bequin Emisa Arthur. Mr. President, Ewa Denmark, we say a happy birthday to Island Saki of Mamprobi. God bless your new age. And I see your Jerry and a way about while we mourn. Yenu yanomon swa estre na wasi yashani yane won estre. Enti Island Saki uwa Mamprobi. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday to you. Yenu so se Enra Daniel Daze edine birthday. And Daniel Daze belated happy birthday to you. Daniel Dazi, a host of Prime Morning on Joy Prime. Belated happy birthday to you. Inti make us say oh share me Facebook live. Yeah, the live videos no to me atoso. Inti as we speak caskets no and omo share ediako emusiye na yako pe former president Jerry John Rawlings Crabre. Inti we unim say he was commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces in the soldier for a year and omo ye into omo de emuno the ashada kem say the emunimno at the air call the military cemetery akwa peno crabre. And these are live videos and amuhu on Facebook live. And live videos pa and amuhu. And Timonshan and so emfa emayen. Na say share ya unso betimi who said the nyoma esi echo, but come through with your messages. Let's read them for you. Na you're interested in nyoma ebesi ako enti omo ye edru military cemetery hwa no enti bibia totomu a mubehu said the nyoma esi. We have a lot of videos and yebeyi ede amamo form what happened today. Well, good afternoon, Obi. If for nothing at all, Papa J brought democracy and constitutional rule to Ghana. Sad day for Mother Ghana. Rest well, Chairman Rawlings. Adriana Bakwe from Abeka Republic. When we say happy 86th birthday to Mrs. Rose Efum of Kaneshi Presby Church. Fifi Adau. Going out to you, Mrs. Rose Efum, and they were the 86 years. Happy birthday. Good afternoon, Obi. I extend my deepest sympathies to the family of the former president. May his soul be at peace with our Heavenly Father. Opare Samuel Ewo Alajo. Obi, it's a very, very sad that the Ghana music industry could not compose a single song for Papa J. Where is Obo and Co? Gasti man Ewo Brekum. Oh, na musicians will be a monyo mama Papa J. Some of them did. Why Sydney boy. But maybe your say a industry song there. No. Yeah, be. But I promised you some about Lumba Nyom Adakatia Amamo.
Asempa FM. Asempa FM.
I'm from Century, and I'm a treasure. Every what doesn't he to himself but you? Why just you can't tell you? Emma to him to a change. Near what you will be out.
Asempa FM. Asempa FM.
Well, the message in this one is simple. Mama yemfa odontena. Nipa nsheda ama mechewa asasi, so we are all in transition. Into Bible crack say twa na twase nipa wu preko pe na owo nechi no atemuo ewo ho. And that recognition is clear. Say we are transiting on this earth. Into obo bra na wahwe ne ye wa ma wodo edi wanim, let love lead. That the lumba adakatia Ekosiisen suni haya Sempa FM 40 minutes after 2. Make us say Amamre Hima Adjoin Sharatna say from the whole of this week Accra International Conference Center and our war and the Okoko PMO Independence Square Ekoko share said ye no and into Triena Ekoi Wabekansa e studio ha and Mamen Kaimo said Omoa edi ifnuda kan eko military cemetery, they are almost there. In the live videos and a ye tremo ewo Asempa in Facebook page oba Facebook Asempa 94.7 FM ubetimi ehu live videos na ewo ho ahwe said enioma AC eko ntimunsha denso emayen enche and we would be with them throughout. Na monso metimi ehu said enioma AC Echo. Your affiliate radio stations are more fine in live in Ida from Tamale to BBN and Yaso Bekwai. Edamunina Samanoni, US of A, United Kingdom, Germany, Holland, Norway, Denmark, France. Stations are hodu or more fine in Yame in Shari Bamunina Aquaba. Obetimi Ashe YouTube live and so Uko YouTuber. Your channel is Sempa 94.7 FM with Mashe Ewo Ehonso into Munshan. And this is a beautiful shot where a drone shot of Bibia. Hey, in Cry House baby a feel and you can see the greenery. Ehane Sabema Camp Tree Hono. Chado area on Airport Hills. Yeah. Airport Hills area honenti. Oba Facebook obetimi ehu said enioma isiko drone shot, very very beautiful shot, and I think this has been exceptionally well organized by the Ghana Armed Forces. Amamre Hima Adrenshira akwaba net saying
yeah mindi
na amamre muno se memetia wa obeje so say
meji so
ye nua and ya medie no so ye den
obi a wodon.
Oh,
media no we media.
Yeah.
Two sounds we media.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Ya media.
Yeah.
And I ye nia. Okay. And I ye ja e papa.
Yeah, me papa. And I ye na. Me mama.
Oh mama.
Enti wo bansu chiawa, betimi age so ya oba.
Ya oba.
Ai.
And ye ka ya bru ni so ye den.
Bru no enton onse ebia ne abusua obo.
Okay.
Ti say obisi aginifo na nti ebia enton a obon sa na ye sa na ye so okay etoda obi oho na uchia na oseme mamachi ejimenya ado ejime awura ejime abraw
ejima
ahenewa nti no eno ye obi ane na busua ofimu ene omuchia enton a wobon uchia ye wo se de yeje.
Oh, okay. I get it. Inti and in so kopie Independence Square. Amamre kwan so no. De na wo se sia and see nei.
Say ye kanisa na ye be hyase every adwada.
Okay.
Isan say ye nim se wo yen amamre mu no. Ghana mampanyi wakoye oman ayie ana oman ade enti ena bia yan hyeda enhu enum bi na nka amamre mu no eda ade bechi a ye de mra beto mpam no na nka ehu sa amamre mu no yatena se ye agi adwade esanse yenim se wo se ekoko dwa no dware no ansa ye siesie ne de na beto ho enu nti hu se enipa wu a ye adwade se ne yire ana ne mma ehihye wo adwade enkranfo mu kwa emaye eyiriye na ebusua nso aye enti niema na ye de ba no ye tawo semina ye wo ahensawo ye wo bosa sapo bia ye de bode eyi no bode
dia no
ha ene ye enti eno mu nyina ye keka bom krobo de sra ne ne ade nti ye gye saa ne ma no powder lavender bibia aka ho te se de on se tete no se ye wo obi a
yes
ene ne yesesa ne mani but ne ye wo ba ye bo na dwade ma no na sa dwade no be hu se bi a chance nkakra bi powder wo mu nko afi saa ne ma no wo nsu a ye gye wadwade
okay
eno ne ye di dwarew
okay
ansa ye de watompem
okay
but em say ye mampanyi de no eno no ya nheda hu bi ena ye hu say ye de natompem ye siesie ne kama ye siesie ne kama e ma wa wokoto no so dawa hu say say no ye sra ni mapa ye de ne air force
but menka yo mo a etie yen adwo ase ene no ifunu daka no edu military cemetery ho enti o mampanyin na nadoda nkọ akofo ado asi one na pamfo ko bebia na no ewo no edu be hu na yire mama beki edi na chi ne aban mu mpanyifo bebre na ko akọ se former President Rawlings on bepe baby edina to asomdwe mu ndi se utie yen on radio na se wo phone eben wo laptop eben wo access to internet in Kwandia. And if you want to follow live videos now over Facebook Asempa FM page ubetimi ehu, and it's a beautiful cemetery, really beautiful. Mo amunim Chado area hono baby a new military cemetery no bekaya ehon yesie Kofi Annan ehon so ne yesie Pa Kwesi Bequeen Emisa Arthur in the Honso and His Excellency the former President Jerry John Rawlings, and so on Modeno Cointi Yedua, there will be a short ceremony and he will be buried. You can follow the live videos no Facebook live. No, I said in your mercy Cointi. Yes, I do to us on
Enti eno no yan sheda ehu bi.
Okay.
But yesiesie ne kama said ye obi ewu a edware no esiesie no ede ne tompem. Na kan under normal circumstances no ye bia nke be kon akoto se nkrofo no ho a yesu ye prapra ne ho eno no abusua ena betena se isanse sa abre ne de won de hye ye ni nyina si won so ti bon se na abusua apaw e man panyimfo a e wa abusua nim omo ena omo betena funu no ebenwe funu no ma de echi kopem se ye de no ebeko but ye papa ye omampanyi na yenim say your man ne abusua de ntino saa ne man ketenkete ne ye hu but still omo banwe no because no your srani enti asrafo mpanyimfo police wom navy wom utimi say won wa ye ka asra adwuma ogina akono no omo begina ne ho e banwe no wo bekọ no na omo dane omachi na omo kita omo sekan omo si omo ti ase na kire sa awerɛ ho aba enti se wo wuram na akohwe na Ura International Conference Center foya no ehon ye de ne to ba wunye wura mu a enhyehyɛ da ho wura mu no wokɔ wanim kakra na ye maame nana konadu agiman Rawlings okunani ne mma ne abusua no etenkyɛn ɛwɔ nimfa fam enti wudu a na wabɔ mu ase no wachia wɔn wo man saso wobɔ mu ase a na ɔmo nso abɔ mu tinko na kyerɛ sɛ ɔmo de age wunchi a wowie ya na kyerɛ sɛ ɛwɔ sɛ wo fa ne ho na wopie on say wo yenye die mu no nka wutwa ne ho a wo san begina ne nan na wabɔ mu ase no wunya bɔ mu ase wo ho na emu ase bo bi eni ho biom e wo se wupie esan say enipa ekasa enipa ehwade enipa nso pasem wo ma no 1 inch obekɔ 1 mile na emu no wo kɔhwɛ ne kra ye ma amfa phone emuram ebia na obi ekotwa bibi ena eye enye Ghana nko anasem na to ye se wo ba no ebibre mu a ebibre mu nyina anya yie isanse ye dom ebibre mu nkabom kuo enti no ye ebibre mu nyina na yie no ato ye enti ne mpese ye be makwan ma nkrofo akoye nneema bi a ensem fata obi akotwa ne baabi a ebi a no kyerɛ de abeto abonte ene internet se de esi ikono enti bambofo ema enhyehyeye eye adwuma na wudu ho a na ye catch law say ye mampanyi or ye disciplinarian probity ni accountability no ye we mehu bi pa na e dey to so mienu no e dey dikan na ye hwe kwan say ahemfo ni ade beba but e ho de anya me de papa
ahemfo omo amma
mehu se de na me hwɛ kwan
Okay.
sɛ ɔyɛ Ghana mampanyin no na me madwene mu no na nka me susu sɛ wobɛhu sɛ Greater Accra Regional House of Chief to dom Eastern Region Central mahu ne sa
Okay.
ɛda ɛtɔ so mmienu no yɛ ma kwan matemamufoɔ nso ɛba bɛhwɛ n'ani akyi
Okay.
Ghana mampanyin yɛhyehyɛeɛ ɛnora ɛna ɔmampanyin ne ne yere abɛdi akyire amampanyin adada ɛwɔ nyinaa wɔba bɛhwɛ na nora Ghana mampanyin yɛ adeɛ bi a ɛyɛ mefe nipa yɛ adeɛ ɔsa yi ɛwɔ sɛ yɛbɔ n'aba so wɔn hyehyɛ mu no yɛka sɛ obɛdu hɔ nɔnkron
Okay.
but odu hɔ some few minutes to 9
Okay.
na kyerɛ sɛ wɔama mmɔ nɔnkron no koraa ma yɛnyɛ sɛ yɛtwɛn mampanyin yɛbɔ nɔnkron wɔaba bɛdu akɔhwɛ mu no api
Wow.
ɔmo nso ɛwɔ sɛ ɔmo ba bɛhwɛ no ɔmo yɛ no waano asɛ dama na ɔmo asalan gyina baabi enti yɛma yɛyɛ sei a na ɛwɔ sɛ wotuba yɛyɛ sei na ɛwɔ so tuba ɔba kɔɔ ya ɔmampanyin abɛdi akyire aba ɔmampanyin dada John Agyekunkufoɔ baeɛ na ɔbaeɛ no na sɛ amanfoɔ ɛkeka sɛ gyama yɛ mampanyin dada ɔntimi nnante wabubu yɛpagya no na ɛnte saa ɔbaeɛ no gyina ne nan so but yɛnyim sɛ ne mfia kɔ n'anim kakra ɛna baabi a yɛrekɔ no ɛyɛ nanteɛ w'anyi na nhyehyɛe mu no yɛmpɛ sɛ yɛbɛtetee no enti ɔbaa ya sii ya ɛne yɛde wheelchair ma ne tena mu sɛdeɛ ɛbɛyɛ yɛbɛpia no kama ɛna ɔno nso kɔhwɛɛ no ɛna ɔno nso ɛbɛsen kɔɔyɛ aban mpanyimfoɔ na yɛmmɔ Ghana mmarahyɛ bedwamfoɔ aba so ɛnora ɛkwan ɔmo faa so ɔmo de bɛhwɛɛ mampanyin dada no ɛyɛ mefe MPs no na ɛtia wɔ se egu me ho kyerɛ sɛ ohun sɛ baabi a ɛde ne to yɛ no ɛno mmarahyɛ bedwamfie no ɛdi nhwɛanimu na wɔba no wantena hyɛn mu
ɔmo nyinaa nante
speaker di ɔmo anim majority minority kyɛ sɛ baanodifoɔ ɛwɔ mmarahyɛ bedwam wɔto santene ɛna wɔn nyinaa wɔdi akyire wohu NDC wohu MPP wɔn nyinaa wɔ bom te sɛ yɛfunu mu baako mu mma na kyerɛ sɛ edu Ghana mmarahyɛ bedwam a ɛyɛ ɔbaatan baako Ghana yɛ ɔbaatan baako yɛ mu mma wɔn nyinaa wɔto santene ɛbɛhwɛ yɛ mampanyin dada kama owieɛ no ɛna wɔsan ɛkɔ mmarahyɛ bedwam yɛhwɛ kwan sɛ nka ahemfo na nanom atena nkonnwa na ɛwɔ nhyehyɛm sɛ ɔbaa bɛyɛ amammerɛ but ɔma ama amedu ntɛm ɔmo sɛ yɛ mɔmɔ
na wɔsan kɔn bɛyɛ amammerɛ nda bɛyɛ
enra bɛyɛ 3:30 hɔ but nyame adom kumawu mahene ɛba bɛpie mu na asantehene ɛne tu no sɛ ɔmmra
kumawu mahene
obɛpie
mu da bɛyɛ enra
obɛsi asantehene anamu ɛwɔ ayie n'ase ne nyinaa ne sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛnim sɛ wuyi ɛba na memmu a wuyi aban a baabi a amemmuo kɛseɛ ɛdi hene nso yɛ asanteman yɛ maame na nakona do agyeman Rawlings ɔno nso ɔyɛ asanteman dehyeɛ enti kamea yɛ sɛ sɛ asantehene ɛba mpo ɛne nakona do agyeman Rawlings dia na nakonta ne da mpa so yi na se asanteman ase ɛna ɛkɔ yi enti na ɛfata sɛ once wo baba bɛyɛ wa mamre enti enra kumawu mahene ene bae safo twenebo a ona obae berima safo twenebo
and me hu video the time na oba on Facebook and I am the say Jackson enyabi enti say obese wo hu time kumawu mahene ene ne broni beka so ne entourage eba ne dom eba na nipa na edi na chi na enya yize o
an na kire say ono no asantehene ne de ne mpabo ahye no so ombesi nanan na ombeye na mamre ema no enti no obae se asanteman a eba wakonta anase wase ne won dehye ayi enti ono nso bae no ya mamrem se wase bu a anase wakonta ye nyina ye nim se ye de ntoma ekata wo so enti oba no ode ne ntoma ode nensa
nana nkofo na edi nanim na omo penti omo hu tuntum
omo ya abrafo
it is a wo hwe your Facebook a wo be hu time a kumewu man hene eba ayie nase nipa na edi nanim tuntum it's amazing. Obetimi ahwe ahemfo chinye no bebre
ebi didi bi achi eno ne ye ka ne sa ahemfo chinye no ebi didi bi achi unse chinye no ebi so ya ahodo enti no ono nso eba no wamba in capacity say kumawu ma hene but oba ewo asante man ene asante hini edimu enti ne wo se eniema e kire asante man no etimi edadi wo se ebribia asante hini be pie no ya na yedikan edi naduro epie saa eduro no epie na kire se yenim se nche ohini be pie kire se eno no ebe prapra kwan mu ema suman bi eduro tubi ededa baabi a etimi ayi no afi ho enti won wodi animu ba na afa die edom ni die animu ba aben ni ade because asante ni na eba enka mu be den asinse but in his capacity na cheso no na waworo ne mpaboa e dia hye ne se bra na be si manan enti no se die enke ye be ye asante hini no ye ntimi nya ne sa pepepe but e wo se ye ma ye hu se asante man e na apie no enti ono so ba ye no ampa ne sapan ampa isanse o ba be sie sabi nasi odeni ntuma nsa ni ne senti ade a odi ja ne kwan enti eno nso ko be ya wa mamre kama e na won so ko but enne we do independent square we will say domahene nso abepi domahene
ono so ne dom
osagifo osi ade yo doctor Ajimambedu a otoso mienu a ye ka ma ye ka aduanafo won wakraboa no wobehu se kraman a oja etua na no wote doma na wate akwam esanse bia na piesie ne kaka ne entafo etisa kuro mu bonantibo at we die domahene ne bai yenya akwanya ene domahene be kodi kumo na o kire se si ye kan sese ya enka ne papa ene da isanse one ne wo eja ne oba oyo nkofa ono de ojitu mprekope se ono ene oyo ma pini dada abakan enya abakan se sebi oye na sene ba but asetna one metina ye ntino na kire se so pai bo mu kra wo so timi jai na ohwe ni isiele woni se ahemfu omunta nhwefu omunta nhwefu esanse wo nhwefu bia wo se kra na so wo nhwefu ni se entino elem oba no so enyo no nko na ba kamia ye se ododoman ene ba wo hwe adehye ye doma adehye o ma ho fade a wo de bi na se nena medie asante hi me ye pe ne de kan ya de enenso nya kwan ekoku na emam penifo a omode antwoma asra wo ho ye ka antwoma atete no ye de muchia ene fu eja ye de anua ko ene ye disi muchia ye niensa entino eno ne ye de enu aduane ye wanhwea kokko bi a ewumu a ne ye de bi asra ho ye de bi akosra ho ye frɛ na antwoma enti se wa ni brea ena wokwa antwoma na yesese omode asra na kyese omani abre ena omode doa bi ato omkon mu na mibisa se omunkyere mase ena omose se enka doma de a enka omode bode ahan ya posano de behya no but omutu kwan ba enti omode sapo na kyere se nne no aduane kro mu nnibi na omaka se omudware esanse omani abre na ansa na obehu se doma de hye nso asiesi omho sa no na kyere se panyimpa ni petitiri wo ba wo maami bi na awuo enti no yama mpanyin dada asetena ne odo a owo anase oyonkofa eda one domaman entem no na wo se wo ba ne mu ebeda wa mamre ne wa mane enti wonso wo buy in that capacity
eno ye ena na enra
enne ewo Independence Square
na ye ka ahemfo no every Monday a wo call ho no Volta regional ahemfo bi nso buy
me ka me di ba be si so
okay
ayi ya me call yi no kure nyame anim me hyase no me kan sa ade a menhu a anya me fe ene se me yi ene na nsa the Volta caucus of the diaspora.
Okay.
NDC amanyo kuo bi omufi Volta. Omu be pie mu. Omu de bobobo. Yes, omu nyom ni ade ne omu asabo omu nsam to nyom. Se mi yi sa nkrofo na.
Monday no.
Eno ye Tuesday.
Tuesday, okay.
No, Monday.
No.
Se mi yi sa nkrofo na. Man feel the Voltarian presence. Na mi bisa me ho se minim se Volta ye wo amamre ne amane ahodo. Yakọ kopen togbi sirimu omukọ ako sa eniema eda anlo amamre di no mi bisa me ho se na ewe because na me expect say me hu ema bia ebi edua tue oma no omasi atofo omukita omo poma, you know, I was expecting all these things. Me hu bi bobo kura ye ntimi ama bobo group bi kura me pichi baby na nka achi agbekoi ni ye bo ni ye de ayiri ye gum gbugbugbu me hu ba kumpo
na enen so
and I was so disappointed enne no Volta caucus no me hu se omo no mo de ntwene bi ebesi baby but hu se enne Independence Square no there was a lot of restrictions. Baby o ha wuntimi ntwam baby o ha wuntimi mfa enti yen hye adwumedie na se na ye te so omo bro ntwene mu kakra se ye hye adwumedie na se no eno ano no me pese me fa sa akwanya so na me tu yenuano mo Ghana fofo say sometimes I will say your differences be eto yachi bibi say isi a eye akwanya ma every region say ye be display your rich culture. Brian Mame Nana Sante hima Ante enkwa but ye ton Ghana because udu asante memu ye wo anloga wo ho nzima kotoko and every region ebe showcase omo rich culture nana me hwe kwan say enka Ghana mampanyi dada Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings said de amamre ni amanne nani je ho na se odu baabi na se ohu se ntwini bomu a na waje obaabi ntoma se de ahonafo e no de abone mu na kire se wabu na nka no me expect a lot of those things.
Ewo ha ma men kai mo amutie yen se we are almost there, meka almost there anache se efa ni sie ne ho no sisi anana konedu Ajman Rawlings ababe du emusie ho one ne ma no aba former President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo watena sedada ene ne yere afi na Nana Konedu ne mane nso ababa bedu nti enche sojafoɔ no so ana de efunda ka na ba na ababa bedru ho it is a utie a over Facebook live a obehu de ekoso nyina sisi a mekira Asempa FM yen Facebook page na wehu de ekoso nti enche omobehwe esie no na di edi ho no nso no etumi atoa so enti mene amamre hima na edi nkoma adwo enhira mamema Dr. Akwaba Dr. Boama atnase dada doc netesen
Nyankopon adom o me ho ye pa
bibi ekoyi
agana adom
da nyame ase what me follow eyi no ene ahwe bi
me nhye dan hwe no bebre sa sanse na me number bi but kakra de me so adi akire kakra kama
waso atimi adi akire enkomo a akoso from Monday ban ne se yem papa wanya ne ba bi koi na ofri Volta region and na nipa bi no hwe sanko mbehu a lot of the Volta culture being displayed. Another part and so say okay we know a state burial Ghana Armed Forces now because we're a former you know commander of the Ghana Armed Forces and say omoye ni say ya enshada enye because after all ne yere nso efri asanteme mu it is a can culture no eba enshada enye hwe uhu ne sen
the atia ni say esenka ye wo ye normal time no mu a yare bi ani coronavirus bi ani ho a enka emma ne sa na isan se sa yare no abesensen wie mu ntino se ye kase ye ma amamre na doso wo mu a na ye de ho kofore niema bi timi hu ni se o maso sa ko ye sojafo a o mo de nhihye eye adwuma it is anet ye de aden na ye nti amamre ni bi so na efe kakra bi ebetimi aye no mom yenye sanse ye hwese ne ye hu yare no se de a doctor fo no ba bonten be kan ye na ye de hu ni suro kakra aba so papa je ayi asese ye sinke ye de amamre egu akwamu pa de a enkanye ne na ye hu na enso so se de mampani ka se ye ni normal time no na sojafo ne ahoho a eba no se yen a ye wo timamufo na se yen a ye de amamre mfan se anwofo de asantefo de fantefo de papa je de minim se Ghana ha de ogina ba obi a wo de obetimi aye de agya ne kwan se ne ye hwe asante hema de no se ne ye no sa pepepe ne betimi aye se ne ye ana ye kan se we nye aye bi akeke ye wo abrempon ye friend abrempon ye na san so ye adehye so yare bia besensen wi niema poten se ye no ketenyu kro sipim ne dia aka ne nyina yentimi nye esesenke ye de gya ne kwan na so ye ka se ye ya na ye de ye ho kwa esanse wo ketesesi ya na wo ado wasesi ya de onima sabeden obesabi wo de bobo sisu sesi ya be kanya obi wo kwa yensa nkyere ne bia papa jeti ase anka obe ya obi so be kasa waka me meye bi na sa obi tisi dwom na wo sa wo ye den na waka kye ne se gya asa no na ehun fifire ni ade yare nso ne ye dwane nti se ne ma ehu amamre no frenchim se de ye ka no me hu ne se yare ni nti ama amamre poten se se wo moye no entimi ana ne ho adi na me enye me nwanwa sanse bre no nye bre a ebetimi di ayesa na ma ntimi ni se eye de yan aye bi se weto a abusua okrani ema ene wosaye aban ni pai ene aban mufo ene ye nhyehyeye ede nhye pagu akwan mu ye aye no me gimi di se wo nyina atrase aye ho nhyiemu agye atum se
we na funeral planning committee ho Ambassador Victor Beho and the chairman of the committee. The
company for we tenase. Na papa gi enye obi akeke. Ghana ye ne ye no. It is ye makwan senka ye ma sa ne ma no nwurawura mu a. Nka nye nka uhu ba bi a. Wo hwe nana hema sante hema de ya ye hu bi. Nka sabri nka da ne abutu twa wani anka tum. Na so me gimi di se wo mo de nhyehyɛ pa agu akwan mu se ne be ya. Ye wure nkofi ye ho na ye nkofa yare ne mforefore ye ho. Timi de ye se ade afiri so beti bayira homam eno na ma bayira mo akese tisi ye hu hihye no se de nanka ye pɛ no a ye fa hye corona no sa na me de me hu no
okay enti se wo ye obi ye ahonani na ofiri se na wasanka ohu se de na adwen hira kana ato amamremra bi ana se enye hwe ye betimi agyan ma aka
there be ento amamremra on say amamre no de etese ye ne mo yemfa ne say we yakwan koja adesiede adwade sa ne ma no a eto mra a wanya enye yie no ye chirokronkon se onipa wu na se yansie ne yie a opon bakora ho wonfaso sene no enti niema bi wo ho a se ya anya sa ne ma no de na yansie no kranka ye sa ne ma no de ya anya de ya no eto mra ne mo yemfa ne say arechichire nsem asa ne agro a amamre agro bi a yebedidi agya ne kwan a kebema ahoho a besra yen ani agye no mahu ya amamre no na ye de aton ye man no yen ne boa yen na yen ye be boa yen no so no se ye koye na de haw bebre yen ne ya anye no a ya anye no e be boa yen a eti no no entu amamre mra wan we se ye hihye mra enipa nti ene mra ho nya mra nti ne nipa ho ti mekwa koye ade bi aka se o esase ye yesei wo ade bi a wo ye no wo bisa wo ho nsem mienu me ya ade na menya ma anya ade na mehwere ti se ma anya sa ade no na de mehwere no ha adwene ne mo me ye na de ha wade wo beba no wo soro a ene menye enu nti mi gidi se ye nuanom amamrefo no ennim se nye sa obi nipa hunu bi na nipa keto bi akeke ene afiri mu yi a sa amamre no ye beye nenso so esan se yare bi wo ho nti no ne ya twe asensen empem bebre hwe se odihye bi ewu kane no a mampani ka se odihye bi firi mu a enipa be se duenunum enkoye na yi
no
ahimfo ne atitre bi koye enso ine ya hwe nipa duenunum se enko kro na chi kura ye obi wo kura wo ye de hyekan enso wuntimi nko sa yi na se nenso so wudi wani su akutwitwiri coronavirus no se papa we pa na yi na ye ne se sebe akokoyi enso na eye biribi ntia enti mesre se ye mu bi adwene nko se ne amamre no ne ma abesensen wiemu no ho se no nti na amampanifo no ama amamre dodo no anda ne ho adia ye ma ya adwene nko se ne yenti ase se no ntia ibi se ye se ade efiri so beti bayira ho mamu no eno na ama bayira ho akese
na se efunu edda ho said
yeah yenka na mu mame emu
sorry it is emu edda ho said ye da no international conference center na because na o share funeral plan na there was a traditional rulers and so ekotwa body ne ho ye den eko file past body no amamre mu no say yenya ne sa ana ahemfo say emu da ho mu ntimi nkonkofa ho
wo mutimi kofa ho na de tie ne se ohene a wote akonwa so kohwe emu a okodwira no ho ewo ne nkonwa fie obi wo ha obekwa akotwa odwan ayi amamre ewo agune na so nti ohene bi ba wakonwa so a anase ohene bi kohwe emu a ese se okofia wodwira no ho nti se wontimi nwira no ho de a ene wontimi nkokra nti obi a woye ohene wote akonwa tuntum so kohwe emu a okofia obedwira no ho enyam fom so
it is say Nana Konedu Ajman Rawlings ya Santini. Nikunu eya wonani. Yase Asanti amamre ye obi e fene ensiwie o se. Ensiwie. Eno ne ye de ade a. Ensiwie
ne se akamfo abube bi se untumi okrobo nkua dabosi a onware ne ba no ma okua. Ase ne se okwaware odihye a na se odihye no efiri mu a ana ne ho ni party bi firi mu a wo ye adihye ana se wo ye abrempon ye. Na saa de no a wo beye no eno ane efre no se ensiye no sesi maame kunadu ni kunu na ewu no se ni kunu awudi a na se oye ensiye ye koye akanfo yen akonta na ewu no
na amase
yase
sesi memfa ne se ntwawa no on se fa ne se asante hini oya asante mawura enti asantifo nyina eja no
ye
omo papa ne no enti papa wo bana eye me no mi kunawu enti papa no eye asante hene na se ene dam what you say enti ono no obeba besie na se sanso na se asante hene ne da ho a na nka o mampanyin dada Rawlings na tiase a ono nso ebekọ akusie na se
India no
nsiye no se ukọ ware a de ma yenya kasa asew no ukọ apaje ye kọ ware maame kunadu no abusuafo a okoje maame kunadu free omo nsem no okubusa maame kunadu ase ewo mo ho nti obeye nase saa na maame kunadu so kọ anwura okobusa ni kunu ase ewo anwurafo no ho nti wo nase no wo anwura saa bere ye bebe omo nso a so ati ase nti ma ye benya kasa asew na nti se odihye bi wusa saa nsew no aye abusua nan no ne papa fam ne maame fam sisi ya papa je maame fam ne papa fam wo mo no ye nsew e ma sese wo mo ne ye kwabo mo nso sanse na ne nso no sinate ene agya na sene mu ba eda fam ene ye kwabo mo nso ene ema wo mo so ahwere wo mo agya eyom papa ene ye kwabo mo nso
ena ye nim nso se Rawlings se ye hye ne hene ewo awona ho be entina ebi hwe nim say yes covid de ye nyina ye gitum ba na wosanka te said ye otumfo epa kumawu hene se omesi na nan mu no ye hu ohene pon bi nso free Volta region ba ajo awona na wo
eno de te se medi kan no
wen hu bi
mani entwa ba akoso ye asema medi hu madwene hu mene ya maame akua sena danso
akua sena danso
ekasai menim so fifra mantem mene ya maame chifa gomashi ekasai menim se ofifra mantem omunyina omu belong to the Volta caucus and chifa gomashi no oye angloni oye mama jram amedo yesi ne hima ewo ho what ma say na enkomo a meni omudi ye no ene se ne na ne maame ayi kro mo koy e mo mo koye de wo so omo ye omo ye say after no obehia MPs omo ye Voltarians because omo hia ye papa bia ye di framantem ho nkomo enti sedie eda Ghana omampanyin na oba no abehwe emu no ne mrase bedwamfo second day na yede ne to ho eye ebrada no ihu se yede fontom from ne ade ntwene akese wuwura mu a yede aba besi ho
fontom from abesi ho
kere se omampanyi ehyan pie ya na gigrididi yede asa edi nanim ema odi wura mu which is still in COVID.
Okay.
Enti de me bisa ne say yetimi de enu besi wa me nuanom omo wo framantem e de ne si won kwan because me ni say omo ye omadwen say ye nso ye de ati agbeko e besi ho abebomu a
ama obi stop here
omo na what ma say e na eye momo dia na ye nua bisabo ama nanabo ama e ka bibi say eye oman oyosrani but ye ntia se ye wudi pa e de to abusuam ansa we bepie omam ye fi abusuam ene ye ba omam ena ye papa oda ho yi ye oman no entimi mfa ye ni ntwetwere omobo bra omo ne abusua enya bibi
basa wo se wura hall mo time ye de da no
yeah
na onsa nifa so no
abusua wo ho
abusua ne wo ho
exactly
and say no ne abusua na
enu nti na me kire se enti so oka se oyosra ni enti sa asrafo bo ne ho ban a ana sa asrafo gi ayie ni ya abusua ne te ho but me dia me bisa me nuanom framantamfo ne se adenti obi si wo kwan
show up ho
adenti muni amamre
okay
asa entwene amuboi mudi bi by ne kan say mo mfa nsan.
And interestingly, chairman of the planning committee in free from
ye papa gbeho. Yeah. Ohun egba ho onu nso fi ho.
Egbeho.
Edin no ohun say eya na edin no
ya brofolize no.
Ya brofolize no. Ohun say nekra no obi e correcte zenato.
Yeah. Asempa FM.
Azan nato. Se de yen ya bono no. Zenato no. O say azan nato. Azan means darkness. And nato is stop. So azan esum jina. But yen ya bono ni aye no zenato. But edina nkasa ye azan nato. But yen timi mbo ni tintinti ni a shorten no ni a brofolize no. But say enti agba refused.
Okay.
Where refused dada. It is a wo tie edini yia ebia wa ase kire enti ofiframantem eno nko ade letimi akase framantem fo ya nya ade.
Okay, say oman show presence
wo se nka ye ba na ye de ye ntwene kakraba. Great
ma menkai etiefo se yedru baby a obia twen se ye bedu ni si awhwa military cemetery for front ye create presidential section ewo ho. In the presidential section area no ena enano yabo ewo ye di funu daka no esiso a ye be mia bibia ma low akwa him kama na ohwe soldier mpanyifo and we sure we air force for ohwe di omo ye wo ha efe papa oba Facebook live you would see the videos for yourself enti mo beba Facebook na baba behwe very very beautiful ceremony and koso as we speak no the concerns from Vault Talenti Storia Joy News carrier for example kase spokesperson for the Awomefia of Awolo and secretary to the planning committee Agbotadia Kumasa has said that it is a stab at the back by the immediate family of the late former president. Immediate family meaning say for refusing the Awolo people the body of their late chief Togbi Nutifafafia to his homeland. Inti Agbotadia Kumasa, who was speaking exclusively to Joy News, said the Awolo kingdom has a very unique tradition which states that a chief must be buried in his home with all traditional rites performed. According to him, the people do not realize the implications of not burying the former president in his home with the necessary rite, adding that if the body is not brought home, then the chiefs would have to plan for a grand funeral where the people of the land have the opportunity to fully participate. In the doc, or your hine, yes, it took Nutifafafia. Intina, or more Shesank yedi. Imuno ebeba na amamre also amonso ye wo ho no omotimi aye asen sie imuno ewo mo ho
na de tie ne se wodi na hensem no eto wo se togbe a ye de na di akonwa tuntum a esese sie na oban mu se de wo ka no a na nka esefata na we no esipai yɛsɛ brachyerɛ ne brachyerɛ nkwanta dam odi amantri no na we no odi Ghana konwa ɛyɛ ɔman pani adwa na ɔman pani adwa nso wɔ ho nhyehyɛe sɛ ɔde hye bi wu a ɔman pani na nkasa te ase na onim sɛ ɔka nkyene gu a na onim baabi a yɛde ne bɛkɔ ɔsan yɛ sogyani anaasɛ srɛni so wate ase enti yɛhwɛ yɛ papa a yɛ nano yɛ papa emisata ɔno so na onim sɛ ɔno so yɛ ɔsrɛni nti na ɔno so nim sɛ daakye meka nkyene gu a ha na yɛbɛsie me enti papa gye na onim sɛ ha na ɔbɛba enti saa nhyiamu yi a ɔmo kan anaasɛ ɔmo yɛɛyɛ no nanka amammerɛ kwan so sɛ nka ɔni Ghana konwa a nka yɛde ne bɛkɔ ban mu sɛdeɛ yɛde na asante hema maame sɛ wa kɔbi yɛde ne kɔ ban mu no ba papa gye yɛntimi mfa ne nkɔ ban mu ma ne nyɛ yie ɛwɔ amammerɛ kwan so odi Ghana konwa yɛka biribi sɛ odi amantiri no odi hene wɔ ha ɔsan di hene wɔ ha nanso so ɛyɛ deɛ a yɛ na yɛka biribi sɛ akyemɔta before Legon enti Ghana konwa na wote so no nko a kyerɛ baabi a yɛde wo bɛkɔ ɛnde abusua no ne nkabom ne te ase o ɔmo ante ase o ha na esie mampani wagye atum a wadi so ayɔ no yɛwɔ biribi te sɛ obi wɔ hɔ a wowu a anaasɛ ɔka nkyene gu a na mu no nhyehyɛ amammerɛ kwan so yɛka sɛ yɛ ban mu ni yɛn sɛ yi me ka nkyene gu sesi a mekɔ kɔfo du asɔkɔre a yɛwɔ ayoko amusie yɛwɔ hɔ a yɛde me bɛkɔ fine sɛ me amete ase sɛ mekɔ ɛsom bi mu na meka sɛ me masafo ensie me deɛ me maka to hɔ no ɛno ɛna ɛbɛyɛ adwuma nti abusua ne bɛba na yɛaka sɛ yɛyi ne som a wɔwɔ mu nhyehyɛeɛ ne sɛ obi wɔ kora ne som nhyehyɛeɛ kyerɛ sɛ ɛsɛ sɛ yɛhyɛ no na yɛde ne nson no bi sie ɛwɔ ban mu enti abusua no bɛkɔ sɛ yɛkɔgye amu no akɔ ɔmo ban mu yɛbɛka kyerɛ sɛ daabi ne som mu gyidie nie enti ebiri bia no amammerɛ no yɛwɔ amammerɛ bi wɔ hɔ a yɛhyehyɛ ebi didi bi akyi sɛdeɛ yɛ maame ka sɛ ahemfo kyeneɛ ebi didi bi akyi saa akonnwa ɛyɛ akonnwa kɛseɛ yɛ Ghana akonnwa na wɔte so no yɛ ɛnsɛe ɔmo amammerɛ ne deɛ nanso so no ɛma yɛ nhyehyɛeɛ a constitution no ahyehyɛ ato hɔ no ɛno nkasa amammerɛ nti yɛmu constitution ne so san sɛ so ɔde hyɛ bi ate sɛ nka yɛ papa Tamas na nabusuafoɔ aba sɛ yɛmfa ne nkɔ na nkroma abusuafoɔ yɛmfa ne nkɔ na nhyehyɛeɛ no ɔmo hyehyɛeɛ sɛ ha na asraafoɔ mpanimfoɔ ne amampanimfoɔ ne yɛmfoɔ mo nkɔ no na anyɛ adwuma na kyerɛ sɛ yɛtu ɔmo mmra nagu
na nka yɛbɛtumi for example edi emu no akɔfra ɔmantam akɔyɛ saa amammerɛ na yɛasan baba bɛsie
ɛno deɛ nkɛnsɛ hwee sɛ yɛde emu no mpɛ bebree yɛyɛ yie bi a yɛtumi de ne kɔ ne nkyi ɛkɔfa hɔ ɛma amammerɛ bi yɛsɛ fata ɔmo yɛ wie a na yɛde no akɔ baabi akɔkora no menim sɛ obi wɔ a wɔbɛtena nkran abɔ ne
berɛ wo nkyi ne kora wa sɛbe yɛyɛ adwuma wɔ ha meyɛ adwuma wɔ ha sɛ ɛnnɛ
ɔni hɔ a
na menni hɔ a
yɛde na mu no
yɛkɔfa ma mu no a yɛde me baba bɛka ha yɛbɛdi nsa adwumayɛfoɔ bi bɛ abɛhwɛ me yɛde me bɛdi nkra yɛde me di mpapa mu aka akyerɛ me sɛ ha na woyɛ adwuma ɛnnɛ wonyɛ adwuma wɔ ha biom nti mɛma ha biom because I believe sɛ wo sunsum ɛbɛtumi aba ɛno no yɛ ɔmo gyidie ba me deɛ meka ne sɛ sɛ odi hene na mo pɛ sɛ yɛde ne ba na musie no ɛwɔ mo a mo die mu na yɛntimi mfa ne mma because obedi ɔman
so a
ansa ebi a musi ne hene ɛna sɛ wo som a yɛwɔ priorities ɛwɔ abrabom deɛ di kan ɔmo kan sɛ yɛmfa ne mmra no it was an opportunity for a tourist attraction site for Anglo State aso ɔmo sɛ anglofo ɔmo te sɛ ɔmo papa no atɔ no ɔmo de hye ɔmo adeɛ nyinaa ɔsan so yɛ ɔman panyin dada aso ɔmo pɛ asase tam ɔmo si baabi ɔmo yɛ nneɛma a ɛyɛ obi broni bɛka sɛ edifice a ɛyɛ befitting for a former president a sɛ aban presidents ne head of states ɛɛba mpo sɛ yɛbɛhwɛ a ɛbɛhyɛ ɔmo anionyam ɛno yɛ baako deɛ ɛtɔ so mmienu security wise na mo se yɛtwe security apparatus nyinaa ɛna sɛ bɛ yɛ srani was ɛhin no mo wa yɛ de helicopter ne bɛba abɛsi a ɛbɛtu afa wiem yɛ wɔ nneɛma bebree a yɛbɛyɛ ɛna madwuma a ɔyɛ ti enti sɛ ɔmo gyifunu no ne yɛamfa amma nanka ɔmo betimi aba be display saa rich culture
ɛwɔ ha
ɛwɔ nkran because
na yɛsie no wɔ military
cemetery because it was an opportunity Emma mia ebia minimum framantemu. Mia me wa adwini bi efa one wo fi framantemu. Se mehu se se nkrofo yi omo wone ma omo ya even omasa achiagbeko ne boboboy obi wo wa ohun bi da se ne omo de handkerchief yi enroli obi wo wa ohun bi da enti no se nko omo bai e no omo so omo be ye bi a e ya de a efe enti bibi na se ye ka se ye bibi wo anwlo a mo wa dwimu no wo mfoni bi e wo adefefa a wo ko hu se aban no ne omo anye baako oni omo ye baako ena wo so omo ti ase se ye wo immediate family ena ye wo nuclear family enti no se ye ne eyere ne eba ene enuanom miensa ena gitu mu a ade we ya ye ken yenko ya dream say history repeat itself ye mampanyi dada John Evans Atta Mills wu ye yehu sa ensemsemi ebi enti no ye ka no ye se ye keka man ne ye keka madam ban ensem na ye ka no empanyimfo entie ne yie odehye wu a ye fie busuam ye beso mo man ye ntimi nya de abusua ne pe eni ye fa akwanya nso aka kire nkrofo a sebe aman a omadehye enya akwanya ye adwuma esomo man se de mo penu se o man se abusua no muntimi nya no sa akia ne ke but edu baabi a enieme bi wo ho a muni o man no enjintum na mo nso munya sa akwanya no na mamamre ne mamane a efe I was a dead no ye ko ye kete fontom from ne ye sa adowa eno mo ne ye hu ye
okay answer na meba doc on ma menko Volta region mra Ivy Setoji Volta regional correspondent Ivy good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
At a saying
Well, we are doing well.
your tree is not good, huh?
No, so I don't want to commit myself.
No
If
problem.
you want me to speak ever, I will speak.
I would love for you to speak ever. Maybe when you are concluding, you can summarize everything in ever for us. But so where are we now with the demands from the family, the Awolo state? What are they saying now?
Well, obviously, it is too late for the body to be brought home. As you can see, everything is done. Okay, but then according to the spokesperson for the Awomefia,
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM,
also the secretary to the planning committee, there are implications of what they did, of not burying or not having the rituals, normal rituals, traditional rituals for a chief of an Anglo land. There are implications in that. So the people of Anglo are saying that what happened yesterday and today, especially during the final rites of their son, has never happened before. And they couldn't imagine their son being buried in Accra without his body being brought to him, not even for some few minutes, for the rite to be performed. You know, in our land, according to the people I spoke to, according to the chiefs, they are proud people and they respect their tradition. Okay? So what just happened means that they will have to organize their own funeral in a later day for the late former president, where all the annual the sons and daughters of the land will have to
on Asempa FM.
Yesterday, there was supposed to be a wake-up in the family house of the former president, but it was not done because of some issues. The people were bitter. When we go there,
no, but the point is the man you spoke with, you said he's the secretary of the planning committee for the funeral.
Yes.
And did he?
The spokesperson for Awomefia.
Super. So did he push for what he was calling for to be done?
Yes, they did. According to him, even the date, everything was more like about those in Accra, the children and everything, leaving the family in the voter region, and Jelukope Zomaye, especially the royals, the traditionally, the chiefs who were supposed to be fully involved in planning this, was not really done. Okay, so it's as if they let them out of the planning in total or general.
But he as secretary to the committee was supposed to represent the interest of Awomefia.
He did. According to him, he did.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
According to him, that was what he told her. He did all he could to make sure that the right thing is done. But then, maybe his best was not enough. And so that was what happened.
So maybe the majority of members on the committee thought otherwise.
Yes. But the chiefs and some family members, that is the Agbochi family, some of them were not in support of what happened. At least what they were actually asking for was just for the body to be thrown to the local pet. Okay? Just for the traditional right that is done for a chief, an Anglo chief, to be done. And for them to say their last respect, even if it's for some humans, then they can bury. They don't have a problem burying him in
Accra.
military cemetery.
Okay.
No, they don't have a problem. They don't have a problem. Because
They just wanted an opportunity to perform the traditional rite.
That right is a very important right in Anglo land. And that is why I said there are implications. We'll not be able to talk about right now. Okay.
But was it not possible for them to also come down to Accra to perform the rite here?
Well, according to them, if they were allowed, according to them, they would have done that. But they were not allowed.
They were not allowed?
Yes.
To even come to Accra?
To do these things.
The secretary told you that?
Yes. We spoke to him yesterday, and then the things he said, we have some visuals of him. That is like, according to him, everything was limited to the people in Accra or the family members in Accra and those planning committee in Accra. Apparently, he's the secretary to the local planning committee, okay, not in Accra.
Oh, okay. So he's secretary to the local planning committee in Jelukope.
Yes.
And not the one chaired by Victor Beho.
No, not that we know of.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So whatever they all planned, that couldn't materialize. That was where you see some of them going to the funeral. They saw this particular one in his home. We called him and he told us he was home. So we went to his house and interviewed him.
So is that why they did not come for the funeral in Accra?
I don't know. I wouldn't know about that because some of the questions he wouldn't answer, and we couldn't force him to do that. Okay, we asked these questions, but some of them he couldn't answer, so we decided to just let him be. A few of the chiefs were there, but we don't know. Some of them, when I called them, said they were around. Some of them said they were home, as in the Cholokope, and some other parts of the Anglo land. So these are some of the issues.
Oh, okay. So you said there were implications for we not allowing for that traditional rite to be performed. With your knowledge of our culture, what possible implications can there be?
Well, you know what? As a journalist, I'm not in a position to say that because I wouldn't want to push myself into the story because I am an Anglo.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to talk about that, even though I know the implications. But then, with all apology, I'm not in a position to talk about the implications, except a traditionalist, which I am not.
Yeah.
Yes.
As an Awolo yourself, are you, because you said the people there are bitter that they did not have the opportunity to perform the traditional rites for for one of their own who happens to be a chief as well.
You know what?
Yeah.
An Anglo man cannot die, just as we saw, for his wife, okay, and her family, or from another tribe, to bury him in that manner. An Anglo man is an Anglo man, whether he has stayed outside the Anglo land all his life, he is still an Anglo man, and so must be buried according to the tradition of the land. And that is what the people were demanding.
Okay, so let's look at it this way. He is an Anglo because he is former president. We decided as a state to give him a state burial.
Fantastic.
Great. So if we still want to bury him the Anglo way, how would we have reconciled the two? So we allow the people to come here, take charge of the funeral, or we send the body to Anglo, go through all the rite, and bring the body back to Accra. How?
Not necessarily taking charge.
Okay.
These are two families. Obviously, yes, he was married to an Ashanti woman.
Yes.
Okay. They also have their tradition. Imagine if he was an Ashanti man and the woman is an Anglo woman. There was no way the Ashanti people would do any traditional rites from the Volta region. I hope you get the Volta. That is the bitterness. That is the beast of the people of the Anglo land.
But the point is, the funeral planning committee here in Accra, so they are the state funeral planning committee. It had Victor Beho. Victor Beho is an Anglo, right?
Yes, he's a full Anglo man.
Great. Victor Beho.
It's also a full Anglo man.
Super.
A member of the family.
Super. And all these great Anglo men are part of the funeral planning committee here in Accra.
Exactly.
Are you saying they did not know the implications of everything you are saying now?
Of course, they know. They know the implications. But I don't really know. We don't really know what happened. As I said, I am not in a position to talk about the implications.
Yeah.
Because even though I'm an Anglo, but I am a journalist. Even though I know about the implications, but I wouldn't talk about it because I'm not in a position to do that. But I know these great Anglo men on the planning committee knows the implications.
Asempa FM.
Wow. So from the information you have, because I've just been told that in the laying of the wreath, there was somebody from the Volta region who laid a wreath on behalf of the Anglo people today at the funeral here in Accra. From the information you have, because we saw that even for the Asante, he could not come himself, so he designated one of his sub chiefs to come. In this case, the Kumawu Hene.
Yes.
The Awomefia of Anglo, did he delegate somebody to come and represent him?
Yes, we were told, but for now, I wouldn't know, and I'm still not in a position to talk about that because we have some traditions that the best person to talk about this particular one is the chief or the spokesperson for the Awomefia. That is Agutadu Akumasa. As to whether the Awomefia delegated someone, I am not in a position to tell as a journalist. Okay. Yes. So right now, whoever who presented the writ on behalf of or laid the writ on behalf of the Anglo people, well, I don't know, but then I think that is in the right direction anyway. And
Rawlings, we know, is a chief in Anglo land. I don't know, since the Anglo people are patrilineal, and we also know Rawlings's dad is a Scottish.
Yeah, he was a Scottish.
Fantastic. So how did he become chief? Is it allowed?
Yes, it is allowed. The fact that his father was a Scottish doesn't prevent him from becoming a chief.
Oh, okay.
His mother was a full Anglo woman, 100%. Okay, from the
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
All right. So that gave him that right. And he grew up in Ghana.
In Ghana, yes.
The mother trained him, right? So practically, he was a full Anglo man.
Ivy, we would end it here and maybe try if we can speak to the spokesperson. If there is anything we have to come back to you, we'll get to you, okay?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Ivy Setoji, in Volta regional correspondent. As we speak, Adea, kind of saying, Ewufusie. Says Hani Ekano. Ewufusie. Aha. Final funeral rites in the air costo to bury him, and it's a beautiful ceremony. So Ocean Military Cemetery and how the place has been designed, it's solid. I mean, papa, and make us say ade an manu enyina sorry. I suppose omokwa ko lay wreath ewo enane so it's beautiful. Oba in Facebook page I will be who said the nioma AC air konu nyinara. Doc, in this wotie yen reporter na. As a ebufuo kakraba. And ono no ikase amamre mu no. As in sunsuansuo bi ewo ho se obi ye ohene na yankoye sa amamre na ansa na yesie na. From unim die mu no ebetima yesunsuansuo ben.
The yanet ye ne se ebi wo ho ana ode ne ho ahye esom bi mu. Se opese wo free sa asom no mu a esese oye amamre bi na oyi ne ho free mu. Se yes anso a ayi ho ana okoye a esese wo free ho yi esese yi ensiana mu. Yemfa ne se asafo mu kura na wo wa wonu free mu yese ne obi mesi na nan wa asafo no mu na de no wo ye no ometo asonye. Yenim se amamre kwa so no obi wo ha otimi kọ busum bi ho we de me de ya asem kan na wakwaje soma bi ana wakwaje bribi sa bere wo free mu a hwan na ebekọ se papa asmasi ba ha baje bibi de ye no ba de bo ne ho ban etie na wa free mu ne ba na se ne yire na se busuani bi na ode ba ana se wo beto aso wa be ye se na obegu nsa kwasi ada bi ana se efi ada bi ano ye kọ nkonya fufuo so a na ede na ya na obeye ye kọ asonye so a ede na ya na obeye ti sa ne mani bi wo ho na se wa me ya etime de how bread nipa no a yemfa ne se me amete ha yi ma no si sumna mfa se makwaji suma bi de bo me ho ban ana mbosum bi amesom mafiri mu me ma na me yire nyina ya Kristofo so makoi se mi jabo sumo ne sa ti se wo yen aboa na wo ma na aduane ni wono abekire emboa bi a opa awia na aduane opa bi obefa di it is ukwaji bibisa na se ohu se won ma na se obi ntime nsom sa ade no ese se wo de koye ho amamre na ujamu
Prof doc ma menya sa interview we emra na fe yen toaso yen reporter na kasa no bo secretary to the local funeral planning committee ni din agbo tadua kumasa secretary good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Can you speak Akan?
No.
Great.
I'm an Anglo man.
No problem. I wish I could speak along with you.
I also wish I could speak Akan.
No problem. I hear you and your people are not happy about how you've been treated relative to the Rawlings funeral. What's your concern?
Yeah, you are all aware we have our cultural practices as well as government practices. Our states are governed on cultural values.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
And so, whenever one wants to undermine the other one, the one which is undermined have two options: either to retaliate or just to keep quiet. And we decided to keep quiet. When a funeral occurs in Anglo culture, the head of the family is informed. After that, there is a general meeting at which the plan for the funeral is organized before they meet the public for the information. We are aware the former head of state was once president of this country. Despite that, we have also installed him as a chief. And you have entry and exit right. When you are made a chief, some rights will perform on you, some rituals, you will go through them.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
And also, they use some symbols on you. These are for you to use in this life. But when you are traveling to the village, those who perform the rites on you must retrieve their rights and the rituals. But we are not allowed to perform these rites and the rituals. The chief, by custom and practice, is buried by chiefs. And his tomb is also not identified by the public. We explain all this to those who are in charge of planning this funeral, but they ignore all of them.
When you say you explained all this, meaning you were giving audience to speak to the funeral planning committee and you explained everything to them?
Yeah, when the first announcement came from our president that the former president passed on, we knew it was improper for us not to be informed before the announcement was made. So we complained to them. And so they came to apologize. And we agreed that on the third day, we should all meet at the former president's residence in Rite to iron out our differences. When they returned to Accra, the following day they traveled to Kumasi to inform the Asantehene without our knowledge. If they were to inform us, you have given them at least a staff or one team to accompany them. So when we went and we were told they were in Kumasi, we complained again. Then the issue of the date for the burial and the place for the burial came for discussion. They gave us 23rd of December for the burial. And we complained that we're going to have election on the 7th of December. There could be a runoff, which will take about 3 weeks. So that will be so close to 23rd of December. So that if there is no clear-cut president, the funeral will not be properly organized. We told them we would prefer the handing over of the next president, which will be done on 7th of January. After that, we can now fix a date for the burial. But they did not seem to agree. That when we wanted to talk about the place of burial, we were told he said they should be buried at the military cemetery at Bama Camp. And we have issues with that also. Because the mother, the womb that gave birth to him, was buried in his hometown, Yalukope. He brought the body himself and even confided in some people that would have loved to be buried in Yalukope. So when they say this, we just didn't want to argue with them. Then later on, they just put over the public domain that the burial will take place on the 23rd. That was when the Agboti and then the Tamako families wrote to the presidency through their lawyer. And the president directed that the family should resolve all differences to give them a firm date. So after going through all this, they met, and then we invited them. And then we invited them. And then we invited them to the burial. 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 And to Angloga. When they came, we fined them for defying Anglo traditional authority by going ahead with things that we asked them not to do. According to Anglo custom and practice, if you offend the state, you'll be fined 27 cartons of schnapps, 27 heads of ram, 27 pieces of calico, 27 pieces of the red calico, and 27 pieces of the indigo calico. They pleaded and paid something to replace the fine, and we accepted it. When they came back, a letter came from them that they informed the presidency that we have resolved the differences. It was then that we fixed 30th for the burial, but the presidency suggested 27th of January. So that was where we were, and we were trying to resolve the place of burial, but they were adamant. Now, there was no formal invitation to Anglo Traditional Council for any of the funeral meetings. We gave them people they could invite. They refused to do that. They will do the meetings before we hear of what they discussed. So we felt slighted. We felt we were ignored. We felt they didn't want us to play any part in the funeral. Even the program for the funeral, there was no slot for Anglo Traditional Council. They only wrote traditional rites. Which tradition are they referring to? So because of all this, we felt that we were slighted. And then they did not want us to be part of the funeral.
For the funeral planning committee here in Accra, the one chaired by Ambassador Victor Gbeho, did the Awolo Traditional Council have a rep on that funeral committee?
We gave them 3 people to represent the Anglo Traditional Council, but they refused to work with them. They will never invite them for any meeting. If they invite them, then it's to give them a report of the meeting they had. We gave them 3 representatives, and I was one of them. But we were never invited for any of the funeral planning meetings.
No, you were secretary of the local planning committee. I'm talking the national planning committee, the one here. Were you part of that committee?
I'm saying that we gave them 3 representatives to be on the national committee, and they ignored them.
Oh, okay.
They never invited any of us to any of their meetings.
Asempa FM.
Oh, okay. And I believe that's how come you did not come for the funeral from Monday till today.
We were not invited by the Central Planning Committee nor the protocol. Last Monday, the DC of Angloga wrote inviting us for the funeral. The DC, not any other person, the DC in Angloga here, inviting the hierarchy of Anglo Traditional Authority for the funeral. Is that a proper way of organizing or inviting people to the funeral?
So you were expecting the invite to come from the Central Planning Committee?
That is the proper thing to do, because when we come, they are going to host us. They will show us where to sit. They will see to our comfort and other protocols, not the DTE.
The chairperson or the chairman of that committee is a son of the Awolo land, right?
The chairman of the Central Planning Committee, his father was the one who composed the national anthem for this country, an Anglo man.
Yes. So Ambassador Victor Gbeho is the chairman.
Yes.
And as a traditional council, you had the power to summon him, to ask him questions.
Summon them and find him. You find them for that type of behavior. we knew this thing, if not corrected, will lead to a situation where there will be boycott of the funeral. So we called them. He came with Colonel Joshua Gbotwi to Afadadat Palace. And they pleaded.
Asempa FM.
But when they went back, the very thing that they pleaded that they will not do it, the same thing they were doing.
So we can say that the Awolo Traditional Council boycotted the funeral, right?
We were not properly invited.
So you boycotted
normally
it.
Boycott an event if you're invited. But when you're not invited, you don't boycott.
But again, the letter from the DCE, we know, looking at our local governance structure, the DCE represents the president or the government in the district. So an invitation from him is by extension an invitation from government, no?
It will appear it's an invitation from the government. But we are dealing with our own people.
Asempa FM.
The committee that is planning the funeral is headed by citizens of Anglong, a subject of our mafia. And so if there is anything at all, there should be a formal invitation from them.
Oh, okay. So you were expecting a formal invitation from the Central Planning Committee?
Yeah.
So what if the Planning Committee asked the DCE to send the invitation?
Meaning they cannot invite us. Look, we have so many important states in Ghana. The way we would like one to be treated, that very, very courtesy should be extended to all of us.
Asempa FM.
In fact, when the British came to the Gold Coast, the Anglo state was the first recognized as a kingdom. That was 1874. Before Ashanti was recognized in 1900. And Dagbon later. Why should we be subjected to this type of disgrace? We are a kingdom. We are a well-structured state. Before our war mafia, and then after that well-structured hierarchy. And we need, at least, we qualify for that small respect.
Okay, so I get your point. I mean, it's a matter of, some would say it's a matter of opinions, because at the end of the day, an invitation was sent out, but at this time from the DCE, who represent government in your district. You believe it should have been sent from the Central Planning Committee for this particular funeral. So somebody who would want to stretch for the purposes of argument would say you were invited and you decided not to come.
The invitation came on Monday. And you must be aware that when we are going to such funerals, you must go as an organized group, at least rehearse the activity you are going to perform. What happens if the invitation comes Monday evening and the letter came on Tuesday morning? Is that a show of respect? And we are coming to represent no less a state than Anglo State, whose son died and was given a state funeral.
Since the planning committee was set up, the Awolo State presented 3 reps, including you.
Yeah.
How many of their meetings did you attend?
We were never invited for even one. When the president asked them to reconcile, then they invited us to come and hear what came out of the reconciliation. It was there we were informed that the 7th of January was selected to be the day for the burial. And we think that is not good enough.
Oh, okay. Okay, I now get your point. So, I mean, watching everything, and I believe you watched the entire ceremony on TV today, right?
Yeah, you have been asked to watch on the TV because of the COVID-19 protocol.
Yeah. And watching it on TV, how were you feeling? What was going through your mind?
I felt sad
Ekosiisen on Asempa
for
FM.
the former head of state. I felt sad for our president. And I felt sad for the Anglo state as an individual. I was not expecting a former head of state funeral to be attended by so few people. I don't know whether there were any head of states. I heard also were represented, and the absence of Anglo culture. Even at that point, I heard one of the officials saying the service was a solemn one, so there should not be any traditional drumming.
Asempa FM.
I heard it. Some people were playing drumming, or they were drumming, and then he instructed them to stop because it's a solemn occasion. Meaning today's event is mainly for the military, because that's a military burial. A well-planned one would have given a day for the Anglo state to come and mourn their son, and that was not given.
But how would you tell those who would say
Ekosiisen
you
on
had
Asempa FM.
the opportunity to be there? Of course, you argue that the invitation came late, the invitation did not come from the right person and all of that. But at least you had the opportunity to come showcase your culture, and you decided not to because of how the invitation and everything was sent out. What would you tell those who would argue this way?
There was no item on the agenda asking Anglo to perform. The only event was laying of wreath and the reading of tribute, which was announced in the morning and then deleted in subsequent announcements.
Asempa FM.
But don't you think if you had come, maybe the traditional rites there would have been given you to perform?
We don't perform our traditional rites for a chief going to the village in public. It's not for public consumption. So we cannot perform the rites there. And to be anti-customary, to be at a chief's funeral without going to take the oath he swore to him.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Oh, okay. But the point is, so if he was laid in state from Monday, are you saying if you had come maybe on Monday or Tuesday, you wouldn't have gotten the opportunity to do that private traditional ceremony before the main funeral today?
The rituals are the last of the events to be performed after that burial to be performed by the chiefs. That is our custom.
Repeat that again.
Anybody who is installed as a chief in Anglo land, all the rituals, all the events will be performed. But the chief will perform the last ritual, and then they will bury the chief themselves, not to perform the rituals and allow the military or the police or any other person to give the person the burial.
Yeah, but that would have been difficult, seeing that he is a former president, the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. And would it be possible really to let you perform the traditional or customary rite and go ahead to bury him? I mean, couldn't you have done it and say, okay, we would perform our rite and allow the military to continue with their burial service?
Where was Hilary Man buried? Where was the former president when Dr. Busia was the prime minister? Where was he buried? Are they not presidents?
Asempa FM.
Are they different from him? Where was Nelson Mandela buried? What about Robert Mugabe? Are we asking for something which has never happened?
Yeah, but you would also recall that since we took a decision that will create a presidential section at the new military hospital, Pakwesi Bekwemi Sata, the former vice president, was buried there. The late Kofi Annan was buried there. So we've come to accept the fact that going forward, all former heads of state would be buried at the same place. You think that is not good for us as a country?
It is good
Ekosiisen on
if
Asempa
the
FM.
president had no other commitment when he was alive. When he was made the chief, he clearly understood that it's the chiefs who are going to bury him. If he had declined the offer, you have no problem.
Asempa FM.
But once he accepted to go to the ritual, the nomination, the selection, the installation, the confinement, and the outdooring, no responsible chief would like his custom to be denigrated. We're all proud of our customs.
Okay, so if I get you, apart from you doing the customary rite, you also wanted the opportunity to bury him as well in Awolo.
Very good. You are a very good student. You understood me perfectly well.
But was that ever going to be possible?
Oh, you see, time changes. We are going to hold his funeral at a later date.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
And he will not be the first person to be buried at a place and reburied elsewhere. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah died in Bulgaria or in Conakry or any other. He was buried in Nkrofo, his birthplace, before being brought to Accra here.
Yes. Is that what you were expecting? So you would bury him there, and maybe later the state can take a decision to bring him to Accra. Is that what you were expecting?
We were expecting that he is buried in his native land. It is the same state, this Ghana state, who were saying he was not a Ghanaian. They say he was not a Ghanaian, he was a Scottish.
Oh no, but that was not the state's official position. It was an individual who also went to the appropriate quarters, the courts, to put out those arguments, and the court decided on same. So it was not the state official position that he was not a Ghanaian. That is not factual.
Okay.
Yeah.
I draw that one.
Thank you. The other thing will be that you say, okay, now the burial has been done. You would also organize, as expected, your funeral in the Awolo state. Would the immediate family of the former president be invited for that funeral?
I will invite them.
And you would expect them to come?
That's their decision. That will be their decision.
Okay. And at this funeral, would all the necessary customary rites be performed? Or you would need the body before that rites are performed?
The Anglo state is one of the oldest states in Ghana. There is nothing new which has never happened in Anglo, and the solution found for it. There were wars in the past when our chiefs were captured and sent to captivity or killed. We performed the funeral for them without their body. There were occasions when some of our chiefs were drowned in the rivers. We didn't find their bodies, but we performed the funeral for them. There were some of our chiefs who were burnt to ashes. We could not get the body, but we performed the funeral for them.
On Asempa FM.
And some even ran away. We didn't know whether they were alive or they were dead. and we perform a funeral for them. So the funeral we're going to have will be that funeral where the body is missing. It's not in our midst. And that is a different ball game altogether. It is not like where you have the body in attendance
Asempa FM.
before you're performing the funeral. That's when the body was not there. So it should be a special funeral.
Oh, okay. And that, have you fixed the date for that funeral?
We were expecting the body to be released until this afternoon when he was buried. So we are going to meet very, very soon and then plan the next course of action, which will also include the funeral for our late chief.
Okay. But one for the purpose of education, we know for you the Rawlings, you are patrilineal, right?
Yes.
Okay, so how come Rawlings was installed as a chief? Can you give us some education there? Well, we know his dad is Scottish.
The present Awamafia
Asempa
is
FM.
from the patrilineal lineage. But his predecessor was from the matrilineal lineage. When we say we are patrilineal, it doesn't mean we don't give room for the maternal side. Every chief in Anglo has Agbotarua like me. Agbotarua is a female line, and the chief is a male line. And so when we lay claim to him to be an Anglo, it is because of the mother.
Oh, okay.
I know our mothers hold higher premium on the children than the fathers. Nobody saw the conception, but we saw the pregnancy. So anybody in the world can swear that the former head of state was a son of the late Victoria
Ekosiisen
Gucci,
on Asempa FM.
but claiming that the father was John Rawlings will just what you and me will say. But we were not there. But we all just saw. So when we say we are patrilineal on certain lines, but we are also matrilineal on certain lines. We recognize the matrilineal roles in the affairs of our state.
Oh, okay. Just another quick question for clarity's sake. At today's funeral, did the Awomefia send official representatives to represent the Awolon state?
The Awomefia is our chief priest and our political head. We never inform him of the death of any of his subjects. The Anglo custom is very close to the Hebrew one. You read in the Bible that Samaritan who saw somebody lying on the road.
Ekosiisen on
Yeah.
Asempa FM.
The priest passed by. He passed by because he was going to officiate. And he didn't want his body to be contaminated by touching a dead body. We don't want our home affair to be contaminated. So he doesn't see a dead body. Nobody informs him of the death of a relative or a subject. So he cannot send a delegation. That was where the second in command, who is the warlord, the father of the Anglo state, took charge of all the organizations from the Anglo side.
Okay. So from the Awolon side, were there official representatives at the funeral today from the Awolon side?
We were not properly invited. So there was no official delegation.
Okay. But when it came to the wreath laying, somebody laid a wreath on behalf of the Awolon people.
That boy who did that is an upstart. He is not a chief. He is not a chief. And he hasn't got the authority of anybody to go and perform it. But that is the problem I'm creating in Anglo State. Very soon you hear how the state will deal with him.
But putting every sentiment you have aside, watching this funeral on television and how the military organized everything, were you not proud of Ghana as a country in how this funeral was organized?
The funeral was beautifully, efficiently, immaculately organized. I doff my hat to our military men. You know, these people are men of precision. They do things out of training. And anybody will feel proud to belong to a country whose military is very well disciplined and well trained. I was so proud of them.
That's good then. So we'll thank you, and then we'll see. So going forward, I would want to believe you would summon Dr. Agbeho and Agbotui, Mr. Agbotui, who were part of the planning committee, back to the palace in Awolo, right?
For what?
I mean, initially, you said you find them traditionally.
Yes.
And then what you expected them to do, they didn't do it. So what would you do to them?
So it means they have made a choice to ignore their own people, not respect the custom and practice of their own people. If we invite them, the barrier is already done. What are they going to say? What are we going to say? What are they going to do to reverse the situation?
Will there be any implications? The fact that you couldn't do or perform the customary rite for him as a chief, will there be any implications?
That is why we are saying we are going to organize a traditional funeral for him.
Okay.
We don't want the implications or repercussions to befall any of us. Any of us. So, in our own wisdom, we have to perform the funeral, pacify his soul, and then plead with our ancestors who gave us the rituals to perform before a chief is buried.
So, Agbote Diakumasa.
Yeah.
Let me say thank you for your time this afternoon.
You haven't given me your name.
I am Osei Bonsu.
Hey. Osei Bonsu. Yo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next time you must speak at least a sentence of every before I will answer the question.
I hear you. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Thank you. Ekosiisen in the higher Sempa 94.7 FM. He is secretary to the local planning committee in Awolo, and Amotesi no AD Enkomo. In the now, omo consensus omo nyina no aye clear. Say adok wetie no na wanu gu asem so na mikao. Inti afi report ane ba be kan bi ba we no ayi nsem na no amane ma aye clear. Inti uhu de ekoso yi say. De me hu ane say esan say
kane mampani akoye omampani dada enti no na yie no se de nanka amamrefo no su se esese eye no anko ne saa na menim se we no se mpanifo hia se de wo ka no amamre kwan so a bibia nka achi amamre bi ye se fata esese ye dwura fie ho ye dwura ne ma ye hyira ne ma ye ka ye bedwura no amamre kwan mu a che se ye be hyira wo ena bi won so mo wo mpa ye bi wo bo se be ma no te ase no ne ma ye nimu nie no wo ba bi mpa nyankopon honhom twene mra ye mo wo sampa ye no mo bo esre hyira ade ma won de kra no esie amamrefo nso wo sampa ye no omo bo no nti wenum nyina no ba se ye jade ma omo bo sampa ye no se nipa semasi a wokoi owuo yi a wafiri mu nso obi ne kum no se ono ani wo se wo ni bi nsi bi mu nti ne ye sa amamre ne de dwura ye dwura omo ane asre nyampa ade ama ne ma eti anwen mu ne yere a wote ase ene se mpo oba bi wo ba bi a nyankopɔn twene mmra ɔmobɔ saa mpaeɛ no esere nhyira akwahosan yedie enkoso empuntu prompromye danko ahode om de ma abusua a ɛte ase no na yakaka ye ho de entie ya no yetahia dodo no se se yehunu ye ho se abusua ni wunuani wo de hie ni kisa ne mani nyina etimi koso na babia na ma no guso a ansa na ye kɔ no eye se de amamrefo no hia poten pa ne se ebia na obi atu anamo bi akɔgye biribia abɔ ne ho ban ɔgye ye no wɔkɔ ɛho hyehyɛ no yɛbɛɛ de ehunu nti wɔn so wɔkwan bɛfa so ahwɛ sɛ ampa biribi saa waba yɛ chi ha bɛgye bambo ade bi a asabere a woni hɔ yi yɛgye yade ana ne ba bi kutem yɛ wɔ saa de no nso yɛ ana ɔmo yɛ ɛde hwɛ sɛ efie bɛtɔ din empem bebre ne binom kɔkɔgye suma bi bɔ ɔmo ho ban ɔmo firi mu a na abɛyɛ yɛ frɛ ne sɛn manso ana sɛ abɛyɛ oyene ɛde ato abusua no so bi sɛ yɛmfa ne sɛ mete hɔ makɔgye suma bi eboa me sɛ makɔgye sikadura na makɔgye bosom bi som me ma nyina ya Christopher me wu ya me ba be ne ba betena bosom na afi bosom no edi omunya afi wo be kwa sore ye sei na ye wo papa yin so kɔ papa yin nete ase ya ko ni mamamre ne amane ye fa ho iti se base wo odihye bi firi mu sei amamre kwa so no ye yes ahwehwe mu ni nyina hwɛ sɛ biribi sai ni wo ankyirima no ebetimi ahayen ɛna de ba kwa ya na ye ta hwɛ ne sɛ empem bebre ye hwɛ sɛ wo ya wawui ɔno an eto ne kon wo ye sɛ ye obi na to ne so werɛ ana yare bi de enti ya na ye san hwehwe mu no ya na bi be ka sɛ nipa ne wanya kɔ hwehwe mu be ne hia ai unse ai abrofumpo ye bibi e frɛ ne sɛ postmortem ehwehwɛ sɛ de ne kum no yare bi ye nsan yade a ye be si ye bɔ ho ban sɛ bi nka obi biu nti yade ya na kum nipa na ho yade ho hia yie papa kwan ya nipa fa so ekɔ no sɛ ne be ya ase ye ahoɔden ye betime si ano a yetimi di si ano sɛ nso so wono an nkrabia nso a ne yasre nyampa de ama no sɛ gya wa na befa no de wo na ne ma yen wa frɛ no ye ni ahoɔden ne mum fa ne kra sie we ye mpa ya ye body gya de wo kɔ no ekwan na amamre kwan so omo gidi sɛ nipa wu nso a owu ye amamrefo no gye reincarnation edi eti mpa bebre no wo kasa bi a wo ka di gya ne kwan wo kasa bebre aye ka ebi no mo srade ene bi nso ka enkoso nsɛm de gya de wo kɔ no ekwan sɛ de gidi en de sɛ wo ye buddhist kankar krishna islam som bi a wo mu no ye wo amamre na kristo som so ya amamre wo gidi wo nyini wo amamre ansa kra na ba ye be fro kristoni no ye wo amamre de wo famu ansa na yatema fro sɛ wo ye kristoni saa na amamre fo ahensie ni ahennie no so no enam amamre kwan so no ye de obitimi edi hene na de ba ko ana eye mwanwa ne sɛ mpanimfo no papa na ye ne ka sɛ wo mu na wo de so no sinate omo no mo ba afiri mu enti omo na eyi omo yi eti se ekoye mampani nti na beba se ete se ebi a ye bese wo mo a minim se ne mampani firi mu a hwan na se ye ni ade ade minim na mo mi a me de hye awuo no de ye ne be yi paso hene ne yetu anamo se me de hye afiri mu ti se ni se ne be ye nti yen akama mu no ba de mi a me de hye awuo no yen na ye betena se ne ye di na awotwe da no ne ye nyina abusua ema okunani ena nka oman ti se woye mampani ye hia mu a sa okunani no ye de ani kura woye maame kunadu ene ne ma
Ekosiisen
ena abusua a ofiri mu ne maame ne papa achi ansa na oman ofiri mu sa nimpa num yi ene ye betena se ye di na awotweda na se ne se ye be de aye ne ye be ne sen woda som bi mu ebia ne se odi akonwa yi enti omo a oda o makonwa ho na ho hyehyɛ ne sen ti wo hwɛ o mu book ni so a wotimu se ekwan a ye be fa so am so abɛyɛ o mamamre nyina so o mo tworo de kan ho ha enti sa ne abusua num yi na betena se na yehu na awotweda no ye di na awotweda no wie ye no da bɛn ne ye bɛyɛ yi no ye bɛkora no wo hen sa de ne nyina ya dada enti nyafe na obi na eba bɛse obi ye nyina na ye hia ye na ye se wo de wayi a ye mesew enti aye no de ye nya na ye dia ye nipa num ya mabobodin no ye ne ye nti ye ne ye beto nkra se ye nkofra se mase meboa ye na ade ato ye ni ye ne ye de hye awu ye ne ye mampani dada awu ye na ye ba awu ye ne ye sre amwase mo jam ye na ade ato ye ni so what you say
entina so wohwe funeral plan na Tuesday 26th January and then 27th January 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. na traditional and customary rites but say eno so na utie papa ya na o se o mo mamamre no ye nye wo badwam
dia no no kyerɛkyerɛ mu ni nyina ne se so ohini wu a wa mamre bibria ye
yes
ye wo bemu de suomu ene ye de ne ko e wa mamre a eno no yenye enkyerɛ ni a nyinaa yenim ohini wu ne yesiesie ne to na nkrofo behwe na ye wo biri bi so a ye ma obi anko ho bi eno no na aka wo osi ahene fo ne adehye ne nsem even saa na dwona ye de ohini ko ba mu enye ohini bi akora ne ka ho ye wo ma ye de
o tire ho nam a e de ne ko ba mu
what I say enti most of the time no so ohini wu kuro bi na ye nim say time we ne ye de ne be kwa obehu say ebedu saa time no na ye total blackout e wo kuro nim wunya hu say edum kane apene kire so obi anko hye dem na obi anko te isan say amamre ni amamre e be koso die papa ne kan nyina na bi tie no na mi asema na mi bisa me ho ne say yemfa se oyo ohini ensi nchen so di hini because me who say ekonwa na omo no mo boman because omo gidi say baby a wadu no ahye kuro na nyam enti ete se enkoso hini die no enhye da nte se ekonwa tuntum a wudi minim na ekonwa na ne kese se
we ya konwa tuntum die
because okasa omo oka confinement
okay
omo de ne share dem ne ade
na obi di nkoso hini so ase de ne share dem
we sure
oh
nkoso hini a yeso abrofo yi bi e ba ye de omo share
dem we
no so edemu bebre to say onu efi kuro ni mu no what I say abrofo ni de e betimi ani 2 days bi e bi ankoso hini 1 week bi but enti say yesi hini chinchine no but me masem say obi ewu a se wunni ade se wudi ade ye wa abusuya wona mane ye enti na abekwa yiye no be se ya tete ntuma na ebi mu ebobo abusuya ne nsa what I say omo ye tiri hu namfo no ye tichi ye de ntuma ne ko ya amane ne ate ne ama wo de ne ade wo de abo nsa na obi wo hwa bra yewura kofia nan ewu ye no omo tete esreche enti ne yere kura ne ye ma ne kakra bo ne nsa sa amamfo bekaya de awo mu ne se enura asema abai na nkrofo obisa me se enti no se me ware miku ana me yire no owu a me metimi decide say ha na me pese me de neto
Ekosiisen
na me ka kire ni panese se woni wukunute na se bia okodai no wansore a ebi o yare ye okobo na busuafo amani so modehye no ne ho dodo no se oto a wono wo bekwa akoka kire na busua se be ma na
me be bo mama ne yesa ne ho dodo no
ne ho dodo no aka nkinegu enu ano no enti afi wo kobo mama ne a afi omo beba abehwe se omodehye no wato ampa ideally omo ene wo so omo pe baabi me yede neto because eyomo ejapade enye me oyire mejapade bra wote ase ya me warewi de me hwa so but wo touch ma eyabusuya sem enti eye di sa wie afei abusuya no beba be se mayie
wo kuna fo
ne yire ne me enti afei on beba be se mayie ama akomabusuya ho se ne yede hye no ampa waka nchine because abre no ma be fa o ma de akopɛ ne kurabre wone ne womba emma bem yenim se yen ya mamre mu no enam se ye Ghana fo nti ne ye ka ne sei na de ye no ma manfo ngi ni se be ye papa ne de ye dikan abogana mampanyi abaso
Asempa FM
wa ye ne yie
papa
ese fata na na do danko akufu ado wa ye de ye ma okuni bia enti ene ebebo na baso but we no mu ye nchirechire mu se de ebe ya amamfo ebeti ya mamre na se enti no ye wie ni saa me a me ye oyire no se abusua kase ye de na ekọ bungurubu yoyo kro ne fene san ya
bunkurugu yoyo
minti min ka hwe but de meye ne se metimi akosra abusua se bia mo
kaminya yanka
se modehye enkraya no tena ball ne bra enti ebia mehwa ahwofo a ye de omo bekọ ni sei eya adesrede abusua ne betimi atiase na omo no waye baako ene ayeye abusua
eno ne ye wen na wukunu ne ye a normal person
normal person
onye omampanyi
but so your mampanyi dia minim se because enka amusie ye kura no enei okunani ukunu was ada no nkwa amusie but yehu ensakraye because ene no ase yesua enema kakra ene yesesa nema ene ebia babia ogina no se bia yewe obi enko sipono enko jinse wabode de make out ase but eye ba ema yehu abusua wodam abusua ne ba no ode na chia mempo ma besi ho wo we pe wonim se o we na abusua ni nti na otise no esanse eye ba na se ohun se obi aso nani na se ye de poma ne besi wa wonya du o se nti na brante ni ho ofese wo se oye ekwo nani o se nti na nano awu se oh
asonafo ho ofe
asonafo ye ho ofe ye tikoti se obi
ani
ai ye tiko eni nti na ho ofe yi we tikoti se obi anim ese asona abusua ye mpre ne kwa
asona ye mpre kwa asona kwakwaduam muna mugu ahina hunu mu nsuo ma awisia ne nyankata fro won
ye di asema ye di
de dia kwa ban ya muti ase ku kan tanke di
no ye nim die nti na chese ya boy clerical
makra boy ye mienu asona woni asona kokko
mo
na o ye
no me ya yekuni
oyoko
akroma
muna mudi asante hene no
ye ne di asante akonwa no pia o ye ne edisika atom prada
mo yate oh enti no ensane me ya ye kyerɛkyerɛ nyina no enne no ensuatra ene sebe me ye Mrs no ewram profoti ema edu sabre ya sabre edu a ye ne abusua mpre ho ye sresre ho ye dede ho no mu ne ya baako because omu no ye baako wie no mu taa wachi ne ye ni wie asa
see what I see and on him say we near the first time as we wrap up on this conversation no also sure a titrewa enya won baby ko nyina e apart from Kofi Annan de no and yen hu controversy bebre but Professor Atamels de kakra ebai pakwezi be kwen de no so yan shada ante controversies bebre and the Rawlings that conflict between the state family and a tradition and a play out in some of the and yes hard anchor because yes nipa ne woni to abusuya nipa no abobra wa be sojani apart from so be sojani no osan wa be mampanyin and when him say te say Nanado say or a civilian and or a president but a commander in chief of the Ghana Armed Forces say Nanado nyame mfa saa ma say oto enne a ekwan ye fa so ye Rawlings sa pepepe ne be
but ochiman ebetimi agina akase oye ne dishi enti yemfa ne mbeka ochimamu
na omunkosie ne wo ho
dabi yemfa ne mro ochimamu na omunso pese omu ya amane bi ma no na yewia
onyo hene so onyo hene
dabi tie
wetimi asre so asre no ma no kwan
ade no aye ka no enyo hene nkoa ene ye ma no
okay
they make out here say ye will be infant for your friend atorumaze to say enkranfo ye won kranfo busua bi a omo ye dipo omo friend no chenche ye nim sa danfo ye dipo ni sa na ma ne krobofo ne ade what ma say enti se nipa ni wu a ye mfa ne se ye wu a wo ye oba na wu a e wo se ye dipo no ema assuming eno ne mama mbra amoye se wuwu a ye betimi aka se ene ye mfa ne nkoka achimem na ye wagro bi e wo se ye gro ye mfa ne ma achimem na ye nso ya de a esom ye bono ye nso ye
njam ne kakra
ye ndi ne ho agro kakra ye celebrate ne kakra enti eno no ubedi achimem no ne entwene tumpan kasa asa ubehu ye tutu
omo ye wi a na ya sign de na ba
omo betimi aye ye wi a ni ete na enye se no ye de na ikosi e de ni ikosi ho akodida no e bi a 2 days bi but ochi ne betimi aka se ochi man ahemfie manim ho me bodwa data momfa me de hye ne mmeka ho enti ye de ne bekọ akosi ho what I say bambo ni ade nyina be di akire yakogu nsa akobọ ntwene because e bi a state ade sei no enya fiansa ye be gina ho abekasa ensem bi nti eno ye bekọ akoye ne kokoam
okay
ye wia ne ye de na bankran afa ye de ne bedua na afa oman no yen abusua ya ye de awie nti afa oman moso monje na de wo se mo ye to aso no monye eye sa na e de baako ye ni odo no said ye nyina yeti we Ghana mampanyi dada ye nyina ye mampanyi no and I don't think that Ghanaian be at baby we shene wo hwe Sierra Leone president ECOWAS president
Sierra Leone president
Obaye
oh okay
ECOWAS president be so by delegation Togo your delegation by titire wo bedu o memu no one ahye ye nyunyam esanse aman bi wo hɔ from revolutionary to constitutionally rule no constitutional rule no enje na anye better sa ebinum enni past head of states but yendie honestly ye papa yie ye mahoho ho asem ye Ghana ni wo hwe se de o mampanyi dada kufuo baaye o mampanyi mahama baaye omo keka ho omo yire no ye maame na adu be pie ye je say na efe
it was nice efe
entino ye masa asomdwe ni nkan ko bia na da ye papa na koma so no enkoso na from mantem for aginafa no
akoma mrafom
waginafa
ade kakra mbese me de twa ne taw ni se ye wo kro ene ye wo oman na oman no ehye kro no hye oman no mu it is oman ne kasa esese kro no gitum eno na mo yenhye no so so obi ye oman pani a na obi ye ohene a ohene no oman no so sene kro no a wodi so hene no enti se ye na yie ne pese na yie no so ani se de papa je ye aso ani ya mpanimfo a etoto ye no yemfa abasobo kese pa emo o ma yade yemfa ne se bi a yemfa papa je de yinto nchen se ko ohene bi anasa ohene bi aye ne ye ene ye de ko ne krom o yemfa ne ko ne nchi na kuo bi asori asem kana me de kan o ye ne ye agro we yenko ye ya mamre wie na hafo no so ye so ye ne wo sei na ni party fo bi asori ne ye so ye ne wo sei kada ben
ene be ye
ni fo no trase ya me ka se o man ya kasa no ama ade na ye fe aye hwama ye akono na me nyini se ese biribi na de papa ne ka ye twa asem ne nyina wo ne se biribi anka achi se biribi ese fata bi wo akira ye amamra de ye a on betrase no maye we etwa asem ni nyina wo
because enim say nipa wu kra before mu obi bi e friend dakofosu o mawre ni utiri hwi ene ye wu wo abrochire kra me papa wu ya fa na nko
ade we biribi ma ne ye
dakofosu no ko ye di sha adakam esie eyayie ebi ho nso omutimi ehihye obi like omu kreti
ne atenase
ade no te se wo a ne ye de watompem no mamone enti amamre bi aka akire bia no omo modern na omo nye na bibia etuo nkwotwere de atwe
mame na mo ase enti amamre hema adwoa inshra medase Dr. Boama yedase papa Dr. Boama na de obi ni mo obi kire dwumedie ne brem wa Sempa FM so enti mo amuntie bi da no eba abebuo mu ene ne nkyerase a minim se wo ebe bi a mekra ebe mpo na me pese wo kyerase e ma me minim se wo ebe bi a adwo sha wo ebe bi a pese wo kyerase e ma wa
ebe
Fabia
yes we say weja tintin ana onyede
na nye otipen
enye otipen
enti anwofo yenti ase yes yeja no mutintin a
enye otipen na tire say o man no so sin kuro no
no ye wie obi ye beda wase
medase papa enti for now memenda between 7 and 8
de obi ni mo bi kire dwumadie ne beba ye besua amamre amanne kasa koa kasa tome anwensem panyinsem adoma komasem na kasa frenchim
ni nyina ede enti munhya ne so man doc ye da papa nyame shraw ye Dr. Boama ne ye tene nkade Ekosiisen so ha ya Sempa 94.7